Ireland will look to restore some confidence against a very dangerous Fiji team. My name is Mark. Let's talk rugby. Ireland versus Fiji. So this one we've been looking for from Ireland's perspective. We were looking for changes to the team. We're getting some changes. The problem I feel is that this might be the only team that we actually see changes in. I think we might just revert to the same old again for the final game against Australia, but at least we'll get to see some of the new players here and some of the wider squad as well in this one. And I hope that they go well, because some of the guys, if they don't go well, you may not see them again, anywhere near a green jersey for a long time. Well, unless they play for Connacht, then they'll be wearing the Connacht green. But it feels like Ireland really do need to bring on some other players as well. We can't be playing the same team all the time. It feels like since the World Cup, almost every other team has moved on, whether for good or bad, but Ireland not really so much. So for me, that's a bit of a problem. This one though, it's at the Aviva Stadium. Dublin kickoff time is 3:10 p.m. Ireland and UK time. So, and then you look at the standings. Ireland second in the world, and Fiji in ninth after that win against Wales. But they're a lot closer than that, because you look at Ireland, they've got 90.78 points in the rankings, and Fiji 80.07, so more than 10 points between them. So it means that Ireland, pretty sure Ireland won't take any points from Fiji if they win, but Fiji definitely will take a lot of points off Ireland if they win. But yeah, it feels like these two teams are a lot closer than the rankings would say. But what we're going to do is we're going to do our normal thing. We're going to go down through the teams. We're going to come back quickly through the teams first, and then back and have a closer look at the lineup. So we're going to start with the home team, Ireland. So we're going to start from full back. You've got Jamie Osborne, right wing Mac Hansen, the centres Robbie Henshaw and Bundy Aki, left wing is Jacob Stockdale, half backs end Sam Prendergast and Craig Casey. The back row is Caelan Doris, Josh Van der Fleer and Cormac Izuchukwu. The second row is Tyg Byrne and Joe McCarthy. Front row, Finlay Beelum, Gus McCarthy and Andrew Porter. Then on the bench we have Ronan Kelleher, Tom O'Toole, Thomas Clarkson, Ian Henderson, Cian Prendergast, Conor Murray, Kieran Frawley and Stuart McCluskey. So that's the Ireland team. Now I'm going to really butcher some of these names for Fiji, but I'll do my best. So they're going to start from the front row. So it's Aroni Maui, Tavita Ikanaveri and Luke Taggi as the front row. Then second row is Masake Vose, Temo Maya Navunua. Then back row is Ratu Meli, Darren Nalagi. Then we have Kitioni Salawa, Ilea Kanakai Vata. And then onto the halfbacks, you got Frank Lamani and Caleb Muntz there. For me, at least, two easier names to say. Left wing, then we have Ponipate, Logani Masi. Centres Joshua Tuisova and Wasea. I learned how to say this guy's name during the World Cup. I've forgotten again. It's Nea Salevu, I think, is close. I think that's. Then right wing is Gita Wainakolo. And then full back we have Vate Karawalevu. Then their impact or their bench, you've got Sam Matabesi, Hereti Hetet, Samu Tawake, Satareki Turagakoke, Albert Tuisui, then Penny Matawalu, Vimi Moni Botitu, and Sorelli Makela, I think it is. So two strong teams from both of those. I think Fiji certainly closer to their full team than Ireland, but Ireland still a lot of the frontline players there, at least certainly the frontline players from this November. So, we look at the Ireland team, and there's a couple of comments to say about it. First of all, with starter fullback Jamie Osborne, really good to see him there. I hope he goes well there too. He did really well, I thought, in South Africa, playing there, and it's good to have another option there as well, because we talked about Keenan. I still don't think he's up to speed at 15s either for Leinster or for Ireland. There seems to be just something missing from his play in terms of, he used to break the line a lot. He's not given us as much there, and not as dominant in the air either. So it's going to be interesting to see how Osborne goes there, whether he's going to be a genuine option there. Then right wing Mac Hansen, it's nice to see him back with Ireland, but still I would have preferred to see Nash maybe get a run out on the wing as well. It would have been nicer to kind of share the duties between them on that right wing, because again, I think competition is something that Ireland desperately need to keep these players honest. You can't have a situation that we've already had where players didn't perform in the opening game and against New Zealand, and then basically everyone except Bundy Aki gets to go again against Argentina. That, to me, that doesn't make any sense. That's when we should have brought in a few of the other players and kind of shake things up and said to these players that were starting, listen, if you don't perform, I have other players in the squad who can perform, and if they come in and they do the job, it's going to be a while before you get another start. So I think the players need that kind of pressure. If you look at it at the provinces, especially at Leinster, that's when Leinster were at their best, and I think Leinster have gone kind of the similar way as well, where they have a starting team and it doesn't really matter, in terms of form for a lot of positions. But when Leinster were at the best, when they were winning, the league title, and they were winning in Europe as well, it was when players knew that if somebody could come in and take your position and you may not get a start again in the big games for the rest of the season, you had to perform. It's gone from there, and it's gone from Ireland, I think. But we look at the centres then. You got Robbie Henshaw and Bundy Aki there in the centres. So again, would have kind of liked to have seen maybe them mixing things up a little bit there and actually put McCluskey in. But I agree with Bundy Aki, honestly, coming back in, simply because it didn't seem fair that he was the only one that was dropped against Argentina. It's good to see him coming back into the team. And then, if you're going to play, one of the 12s in the team, as it were, at 13, it's going to be Henshaw, because Henshaw, he's played a 13 before. These two guys used to be 12-13 combination for Connacht back in the day as well. So yeah, it's good to see them there, but I hope that McCluskey gets some decent minutes in the game as well, because I feel like they're probably going to be the only minutes that he's going to see this November for Ireland. Left wing then, Jacob Stockdale. I talked about him being in the Six Nations squad and not being there on form. He's definitely in this squad on form. It's good to see him getting a run out as well. I love James Lowe, but again, we need competition in 4 places. I think Stockdale coming on and maybe having a big performance here would be good for both of them. I think you need that with players of that quality, where they drive each other to higher standards. You can't have one guy just, whatever happens, you're my guy. And that's the way it feels with Andy Farrell at the minute. So I'm not happy with where we are, honestly, as a team. But it's good to see Stockdale getting a run out there. Then at 10, you got Sam Prendergast, his first start for Ireland. Thought he did well against Argentina without really setting the world on fire. So this is a chance now to really prove himself. He's there with Craig Casey, another guy I think with a point to prove, because obviously James Gibson Park is the starting 9, but Casey has been battling a lot with Murray. To see who's going to be that cover there, and he hasn't quite shaken Murray off completely, in an Ireland context as well. So I want to see these two going well together. Then the back row, we've got Captain Caelan Doris there. I'm not sure why he's playing, honestly. I know you have to have some experience in there. You can't just throw all, you can't change all 15, but still it probably means that he's going to play, all of the autumn international games, and probably every minute of them. He might come off early in this one, having said that, but you probably expect him to 80-minute performance against the Wallabies, and the same with Josh van der Fleur as well. Two players that I don't feel have anything to prove, and probably in terms of performance, Van der Fleur probably up there, probably a better performance from him over November than from Doris. We want to see more of Doris's carrying, and maybe that's why he's out there, to see if he can spark something and get a bit of confidence with his carrying. Then a guy that absolutely dying to see in Ireland green, and that's Cormac Izuchukwu. Guy has been sensational for Ulster. He's been brilliant for the emerging Ireland team as well, and now he gets a chance for the senior team. And again, I hope it's not just one of these ones where he comes on, he does well, but it doesn't matter because somebody else is just going to come back in and replace him for the game against the Wallabies. I hope that, for the player, the likes of him, and a few others who are out there as well, that it's a genuine opportunity for them to impress the coaches for selection ahead of the Australia team, and that 15 to play Australia, or even the 23 to play Australia, hasn't already been picked barring injuries. And you kind of get the impression, given how things selection wise have gone this November, that maybe that 15 has already been picked, and maybe he doesn't have the chance, but I hope I'm wrong on that. Then second row, then Tyg Byrne, moving away from 6 there. Neither of our second rows have gone all that well. Byrne as well hasn't been having the impact for Ireland that we've seen in the past. He hasn't been winning those turnovers, and he hasn't been as effective either, in terms of ball defence. He's been getting pinged a lot for stuff like that. So again, another guy I feel like, he's maybe there to see if he can kind of spark something and get back a little bit of confidence there. Joe McCarthy, big ball carrier, but we haven't really seen it from him, in November. But again, Ireland haven't had much go forward on the ball, and it really has impacted him. So expecting a big game from him. I think the fact that Izuchukwu is in there as well in the back row will take a little bit of those responsibilities away and kind of share the load as well, I think. Then the front row, Finlay Bealham, he's done really well. I don't think he should be playing this game, and the reason I say that is because I absolutely think that he should have had a 20-minute red card against Argentina and then would have been banned from this game following his disciplinary hearing. In terms of form, definitely should be in there, especially seeing as we're still without Furlong. But in terms of just the what happened last week, probably very lucky guy to be available for selection this week. Then Gus McCarthy making his debut there as well. He's been sensational for Leinster. A real kind of find there. In the absence of Sheen as well, and he just stepped up and he's been doing really well there. So it's good to see more young blood coming in and hopefully injecting a bit of urgency with the rest of the team as well. And that's what's going to happen as well. You have young guys come in and they kind of shake things up a little bit, and the guys who are kind of there setting their ways suddenly respond to that as well, and it brings a new energy, and hopefully those guys are going to do that for us. Andrew Porter, we absolutely do not have another player capable of starting at 1 for us at the minute. Looking at this, the guys had to start every game. He's going to have to start against Australia as well. I was expecting actually that maybe Cian Healy would start, seeing as it would have been his cap that made him the record cap holder for Ireland, but he's going to have to wait for that. I don't know whether he's it feels like he probably is going to play against Australia. He's going to be on the bench, Porter starting in that one, which means that Tom O'Toole on the bench there doesn't really have a chance to stake a claim, I think, for inclusion against Australia, because I can't really see it being the case that Healy will be allowed or the autumn internationals will be allowed to end without Healy breaking that record. But Porter again, he's definitely our best loose head, but that's a problem at the minute. We need another loose head. We need somebody putting pressure on him because he's not performing in the big games, and the fact that he's our best option, is an issue. He's still a fantastic player. It's just the fact that he's on the wrong side of referees, and he doesn't be able to correct it in in the scrum, and that's affecting him around the park as well. He's giving away penalties at the breakdown as well. On the bench then, Ronan Kelleher, we know what he can do when he comes on. Tom O'Toole, I want to see him getting plenty of minutes, coming on from Andrew Porter pretty early. Thomas Clarkson as well, another guy, who's done really well since he's come in. Young guy, a lot of pressure on him, but I think, again, give him the minutes, put him out there and see how he goes. Ian Henderson, again, I would have liked to have seen somebody younger included in the squad, the likes of maybe like a Sheridan or like a Hearn from Munster or something like that, coming in and getting those minutes that he's going to get. Instead, my worry with him is he's going to come on and get injured, and then somebody's going to have to come, somebody else is going to have to come on instead of him. But I think the fact that, what's his name? The other Leinster guy that got injured last week and went off. His name will come to me later. But yeah, probably because he's out, that's why Henderson is in there as well. I don't know why I can't remember the guy's name. Like, he plays 6 for Leinster all the time and 6 for Ireland at times as well. And then he plays the second row too. His name will come to me at some stage, probably just after I've finished recording. But that's what happens when you get old. You forget names that you've known for ages. Then we got Keane Prendergast, older brother of Sam there as well. So again, want to see him getting decent minutes there, and hopefully it's not coming on for Izuchuku. I hope that he comes on for either Doris or Van der Fleur, so we can see himself and Izuchuku there in the back row as well. Conor Murray there, in terms of him, got nothing to prove really, but we know kind of what we're going to get from him when he comes on. Kieran Frawley, had a nightmare against New Zealand, going to come on now and hopefully do well in this one as well. And hopefully it's not as pressurized as it was in that one, because the guy, he did so well down in South Africa, and I was really, not even just as a Leinster fan, just an Ireland fan, it wasn't nice seeing him the way he was in that one, and the same as well. For Crowley too, two really good young players, and not good to see them, not performing and really under pressure, because generally the two of them have handled the pressure, I think, exemplary well. And by the way, Ryan Baird, I just remembered his name. I told you I'd remember at some stage. But I think, Henderson's probably in because he's out at the minute. Then Stuart McCluskey, I hope he gets minutes. I love that guy. Just the fact that we have a lot of depth at centre, but I love the way he carries the ball, and the way he's always trying to get those hands free to offload as well. I think a lot of our the two centres that are starting in this one could certainly learn a lot from him as well. Okay, so let's have a look then at a close look at the Fiji team. It won't be as in depth because I don't know them anywhere near as much as the Ireland team. But looking at front row like Maui, Canavere and Taggy, like Canavere, I think has been really good. For Fiji, he's captain for a reason. He really does lead from the front, and I can see him scoring a try in this one, and also causing problems for Ireland as well in terms of in the loose and also in the set piece too, and a decent front row there too. So Ireland won't have it their own way. Certainly in the scrums, they're going to have to front up there, I think, against this front row. Then the second row is a Vose, I think, and Mayana Vanua there. So going against a combination for for Ireland. That you would think in terms of like Byrne moving back into the second row and against McCarthy there as well. That I think it's going to be a bit of an arm wrestle between them in terms of trying to get dominance in the line-out, and then also kind of in mauls as well. They're going to be the big players there, and then just in terms of making those hard yards too for the teams, and one of the things for them is whether they're going to be able to keep Byrne quiet at the breakdown as well. But Fiji have a lot of players who are really good at the breakdown too. Canterbury among them as well. Then we look at the back row there. So you got Darren Nalagi, Salawa, and Kana Kaivata. So those guys, honestly, can't tell you a whole heap about, other than when I've seen them, they've been decent. Going up against the likes of Doris and Van der Fleer, and then Izuchuku coming in as a new young gun as well. It's going to be a battle in that back row, and a lot of the time, the back row that comes out on top really can have a big say in where the game goes. So those guys going to have to perform if Fiji are going to cause an upset in this one. But then talking about people who are going to perform and who have performed, the halfbacks Lamani and Muntz, he has that ability to run that back line and to play in the way that Fiji like to play, but also he gives them stability, he gives them structure as well. He kicks his goals, he's got a decent kicking game out of hand as well. And beside him there, Frank Lamani is a great file from there as well. I think they're a great combination there. You can see definitely some snipes there from both of them. Muntz likes to take the ball up himself as well. So definitely going to be looking for times when Ireland is switched off, and both of them can definitely make hay in those situations as well. And then we go into the back line. Then you look at the wings. So you got Loganamasi and Wainakolo. So Wainakolo kind of the bigger name of those two, but both decent finishers. You would kind of in terms of defense, a lot of wingers kind of get tested on defense as well. So we'll see how they go, but certainly in attack, they're both going to be a big threat. And then you look at the that midfield pairing is fantastic midfield pairing. Tuisova and Ne Kalevu. Again, I know I'm pronouncing them wrong, and I know I learned it in the World Cup as well. But yeah, he's a fantastic player as well. Really good in terms of, he got that threat at the breakdown. He has that ability, to run off, run good lines off his 10 or even off Tuisova. He takes the ball up to the line. He's got that power, but he also got a bit of evasion as well on him too, and he likes to bring other players into the game as well. So a real threat there, and Ireland gonna have to do keep those two guys quiet. And again, that midfield battle is going to be one that's kind of go some way again to determining the winner in this one. And then the fullback, then we got Karo Walevu. Definitely gonna see some high balls, but it's one of these ones where kind of similar to maybe Frawley for Ireland, where you can have a nightmare and just be dropping the ball all over the place, or you absolutely own the skies and then you're running the ball back, and Ireland are kind of wondering, people are wondering, why the hell were we kicking to him? He's just too good. So we'll see which way that one goes. Then we look in the bench, then you got like that experience of Matabesi to come on there. If it's a tight game, that's going to help. Then you got Hitet and Tawake as well, front row replacements. So I think, in terms of looking at who Ireland have on the bench as well, Fiji definitely will be looking to kind of get a nudge in the set piece, especially in the scrum, when the changes are made. But the the young Ireland props could actually step up. We'll have to see. Then we got, second row cover then, Turaga Koke, and then we got Tuisui there covering the back row as well. So Tuisui definitely going to be an impact player for them. We got Matawalu and Botitu to come on, and Makala as well. So all guys who are going to look to impress when they come on there. And it's going to be similar, I think, with the two benches. You got a mix of players who've been there and done that, and have plenty of caps, and then players who are kind of lower down in terms of cap count as well. So both, I think, benches, teams are going to look for them to kind of impact that last kind of 20 minutes and either inspire a comeback or carry a victory home for them. And it's tough for me as an Ireland fan to look at this and think how the game is going to go, because again, I've been very disappointed in the way that Ireland have played over this period. I'm very disappointed in the selection as well. I thought there should have been a reaction from the coaches after that New Zealand defeat, and players who may be in now should have come in then. And players really should have been put on notice that you when you're representing Ireland, you have to perform. I don't feel like that's been the case for a while. And maybe through the Six Nations we kind of got away with it, but now we kind of got found out, honestly, here. So it's going to be interesting now with the changes, because if we make changes and then let's say we lose against Fiji, then it's in the coach's mind it's going to reinforce the idea that they don't have those players available and they shouldn't have made changes in the first place. And we're going to get to the point where it's basically going to be almost the same 15, barring injury, playing all the time, and we're not going to progress. And teams, no matter how brilliant the players are that are there already, you need that kind of fresh blood coming into a team to bring that new energy in there and to stop things going stale. And it's where Ireland compared to the likes of South Africa, France, and New Zealand as kind of the top four in the world have been lacking, is bringing in that fresh blood and causing a kind of a new impetus for those players that are there, and not making them feel too comfortable in their position either. I feel like if you're going to represent your country, you have to earn every cap that you get, and your past performance has to kind of your last performance, you have to be happy with it. In terms of your next selection, you've always got to be trying to improve all the time. You can't just be thinking that, oh well, we didn't play that well, but I'll be playing next time anyway, and I've got a chance to do better. It should be a case of, if you're not performing, somebody else can come in, and if they perform, then you've now got to prove to the coach that you're ready to step up when they have a dip in form. But that's not happening at the moment for Ireland. But let's talk about how I think the game is going to go. I think set piece is going to be interesting, because Ireland's set piece has been absolutely woeful. Much of their play has been as well. But yeah, set piece has been a problem. I think Fiji are definitely going to attack Ireland. Ireland at the breakdown. Ireland have been very bad in terms of when teams have gone after them at the breakdown, actually securing that quick ball that they need and that they want. And because of that, then we've seen a lot of misalignment in Ireland's attack, because you have players kind of in between two stools kind of thing, where they're thinking, should I be going in to secure the ball, or should I be staying as part of this pod, or I'm going to be a dummy runner or a carrier, so I can't really go in there, but then we don't have the ball anyway, so you aren't going to be either. And I think that comes really from 9. Your 9 has to recognize when there's problems at the breakdown and tell players, we need to resource the ruck. You've got to get in there. You got to make sure that we get the ball. We got a quick ball. We got a clean ball, and that's where Ireland excel, is when they can get that quick, clean ball. They go through a number of phases, they drag a team one way and the other, and then they create the space and then they exploit it. But it's been too stop-start, too much disruption at the breakdown, getting turned over too much, giving away too many penalties, poor set piece, etc. And it's got to change, and hopefully it's changing for this. And it really is more hope than kind of rugby smarts in terms of prediction here. But I think Ireland are going to win. I think it's going to be one of these ones where they will get a bit of a scare, but I think they're going to be able to carry it home in the end and probably win by a couple of scores. It's not going to be the scoreline that Scotland had, I think. I hope, honestly, for Fiji's sake, that isn't. I don't think so. I think this is a much better Fiji side than the one that lost against Scotland. But I don't think it's going to be even like, I think that was a 40-point margin. I don't think it's even going to be like a 30-point margin. This, I think, Ireland would be happy with a 20-point margin. And I think overall, the Ireland fans are just happy with a win, get a few tries, and look a bit better, look like they're improving. I think would be a step forward for Ireland. So I'm going to go for an Ireland win in that one. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments, especially if you're an Islander or you're from Fiji. Let me know about players that I necessarily don't know all that much about, that are kind of coming through, that I should be watching out for as well, because I love when people share their knowledge and kind of improve my knowledge too. And that's really what as rugby fans is what we want to do. We want to learn about these players. We want to see more of them, and I wish there was a way to kind of, for the likes of Fiji and etc. I talked about before, to play more of these, especially Northern Hemisphere tier 1 teams on a more regular basis, other than World Cups. And games like this are brilliant, but we look at it and we think, okay, how many island nations played against the Six Nations team this time around, and the answer is 1, Fiji. And I remember before where you used to have the likes of Tonga and Samoa would be over as well, and we need to be doing that. We need to be supporting them. It feels like since COVID, a lot of the Six Nations unions, I'm not just going to blame Six Nations. I think a lot of the top tier, the tier 1 unions have basically been trying to make their fixtures so that they can make more money, because of all the money that they lost during COVID. And part of it is you can understand it, but another one you're looking at and you're thinking, no, you've got to give something back to the game as well. So I hope we're going to see more Ireland teams getting to play the likes of Ireland, England, or whoever in the future as well. That it's not just going to be one island nation being privileged to play against us. That's kind of BS for me. We should be helping out these teams. World Rugby should be doing it, but also the individual unions as well should be looking at it and thinking, we need to help out these guys. We need to grow the game. We can't just be looking after our own interests all the time as well. But again, let me know what you think down in the comments. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.